I'm Northrup of MyMMANews.com, and I spoke to lightweight prospect, the quiet man himself, Dylan Mantello, who takes on Gurgo Zooks at Triton Fights on March 27th. Mantello spoke about representing New York and Florida, getting engaged, and how he found his passion for MMA while attending college at LSU. Dylan, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. How are you? Thank you
Good,
for having me.
good. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for joining me. I just want to start off too by saying I saw you got engaged. I guess it was about like 2 months ago. So congrats on that.
Yeah, the end of December. It was a crazy year, but wound up finishing off the right way. I proposed to my girlfriend, so my fiance now. So it was good. It was a great time. She's the best. We've been together for a few years now, and
Mm-hmm.
she's seen the lifestyle. I met her when I was already fighting, so she knows what she was getting into when she met me, and she's been amazing. Since day one. So couldn't be happier to spend the rest of my life with her, to be honest.
Yeah. And I saw you filmed it too. Very smooth. You had like the dim lights, signs, candles. Very smooth.
I know. I was waiting for it to go viral, but I guess not. Yeah, it was. I had some ideas. I was doing some, engagement proposal ideas. She actually has a son that she had when she was very young. She was 22 when
Okay.
she had a son. So, my stepson now. But yeah, I like to get him involved with it. Just because we're a pretty close unit, and I think I did a pretty good job. I got some good feedback from it. So
There you go.
yeah, it was tough. It was tough planning because you can't tell the secret to like a 3-year-old. He
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
hang on to it. So I had to work him in somehow. But yeah, we got it done, and I think she was definitely surprised. So we were happy.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Nah, I mean, I love to make this, like an MMA romantic show, but we're not gonna go down that route just yet. Let's talk a little bit about your career. We talked about it a little bit before we started recording, but you fought your entire amateur career. I think it was in New York. I was looking. I don't think you fought really anywhere else. And then obviously you made your pro debut in New York, and then with the times and everything with COVID, I'm guessing that's why you probably fought in Florida last time too. So what was that like too? Because being fighting in New York all the time, like what was it like kind of traveling long distance for the first time for a fight?
Yeah, that's a good question. I did most of my fights in the tri-state area. I did most of my amateur in either New York City or on Long Island, and then my pro debut was actually in Atlantic City with Ring of Combat. So
Okay.
I got a little bit of a taste for it there. It wasn't too long of a travel, but it was checking into a hotel room and spending the night in a hotel room before your fight. I mean, that's a different vibe, so you gotta adjust with that. I'm very particular in my preparation too, so you just gotta flow and roll with the punches in that kind of situation, and not get too locked in on anything. But yeah, I actually fought in September in Florida. So during COVID too, with all the lockdowns and the masks on the planes and everything, and COVID tests. So I've been through that before now. So I just take my hats off to any of the promoters that are really willing to do it, because it takes a lot right now. A lot of shows aren't going to make it, and a lot of guys are working hard to put on shows. So I'm grateful for the opportunity. Triton's putting on their first show in Florida. They're doing a New York versus Florida theme, and we got 3 guys from the gym, 2 guys and 1 girl from the gym fighting that night. Some tough guys too. So there's another gym, Long Island MMA. They've got some guys on the card too.
Mhm.
We've actually fought some of them now, so now we're coming together and we're going down as one crew. So we're pretty excited about it. I think it's a good idea from the promoter, get people excited, and I'm just hoping things get rolling again so we can get back in the cage, because that's what we love to do.
Yeah. As far as like the travel too, just one more thing on that. Like anything you learned from that first trip, like traveling kind of long distance, that you were like, you know what, if I ever do this again, I want to do this differently.
That's a good question. Honestly, it was a lot easier cutting weight when it's like 80 degrees out than it is in New
Yeah.
York. I mean, finding a sauna was not even a problem, because we could go outside and start cutting weight and just like running around. So my weight, I saw weight management getting down there. You're a little extra careful, not knowing how your body's going to adjust to the plane ride, and the pressure in the cabin, and things like that. But honestly, you just got to get down there and get the work done. I've done it so many times in my amateur career, making weight and getting ready for a fight, that if you have the principles in line that you look to follow, some stuff can get in there, and some details can change. But as long as you stay the course and make sure that you're getting the stuff done that you need to get done, the rest will kind of fall into place too.
Yeah. I feel like you're one of the rare fighters too, because if you're looking at guys who were able to get fights like during the pandemic and everything like that, not many can say that they haven't yet fought in front of like no crowd. And somehow you've managed to, I'm right, you haven't fought in front of nobody yet.
Yeah, I haven't fought in front of an empty arena completely. They had some guys down there for the last one with Tour MMA. So that was a bit of a different experience. I know Triton Fights. I mean, they put on some good shows on Long Island here. They have, some great production, and they have a lot of people come down. I'm used to having a big crowd. I'm selling, a couple hundred tickets every fight,
Yeah.
so I'm used to having that, that crowd in the stands. But honestly, when you're in there, none of that stuff matters. And like I know that going in, there could be 100 people there for me. There could be 0 people there
Mhm.
for me. I could be in an alleyway, fighting off a mugger, or I could be, fighting in a cage in the UFC on the world stage. My attitude is the same thing. I'm going in there to win. I'm going in there to take the guy out before he tries to take me out, and that's just how you get exciting fights, honestly.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned earlier too that you're going down there with some teammates. I know Justin Montalvo is one of those. He posted on Instagram today a picture of I think you two training. Um, what's that like too? Like, how much does that kind of help? Like when you are going somewhere far and things like that. You're not only are you with because obviously you're gonna have your cornerman with you always, but to have a guy that's kind of going through that same thing. He's got to cut the weight. He's got to get ready for a fight. What's it like kind of having guys like that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Justin has had a fight since COVID's going on, so he
Yeah.
might lean on me a little bit in that capacity, just on just some different things. I know I'm working with some of his team about organizing hotels and making sure we're on the same flight and stuff like that. Because Sarah Longo is definitely a family environment. Ray Longo, Matt, Sarah, they've created a great culture with the gym. I've only trained a few places, but with my experience now and fighting other gyms, it's obvious that this is definitely a special unit that they have because it's a family environment. And, we can lean on each other and it doesn't pull anything back from each other. We can lean on each other and it makes us stronger. So it's a pretty unique situation. I think we have a smaller gym that is very strong, but yeah, anything Justin needs, he knows he can come to me. And if I needed anything, I could go to him and his family and get it done. So, we're going to go down there. We're going to get the job done. We're putting in hard rounds of sparring. We push each other every single day. So, we're going to go in there and we're going to bring a fight and we're going to take it to these 2 guys that think that they can beat us because they can't.
Yeah. Let's go a little bit into that too, because Gergo, I believe he's 1-1. How much do you really know about him? I know you kind of touched on this too before we start recording.
Yeah, I mean, we do have. I think he's got 2-1 or 1-1 with a DQ. I'm not really exactly sure what his pro career is. So that's a little bit, frustrating. I'm not used to. I'm used to watching a lot of tape. I'll go back and watch a lot of tape on people, but I think that he's a decent wrestler. I think recently has a purple belt. Looks like his striking's okay. He's definitely a strong guy. So, we're going to weigh in at 155 and we're going to be, nobody's going to be bigger than me in the cage. So I'm not worried about him overpowering me.
Yeah.
So, he thinks he can do it. We're going to go down there and do it. If you're on the street, you don't say, okay, well, let me go check your tape. If a guy's trying to beat the crap out of you, you don't say, let me go see what his, credentials are. This is, I'm here to fight anybody because I'm trying to be the best in the world. So that's just what it is.
Yeah. Now, I believe he trains out American Top Team too, so I assume that he's going to bring it's a little far, I guess, from Plant City, like down by the Miami area, but I'm sure he's going to bring some crowd too. Like, do you kind of a guy who fought mostly like in New York and you said even New Jersey too, but do you kind of does it matter to you? Do you not mind like kind of being the guy that's coming in and looking to kind of spoil the party?
Honestly, I feel like it's a home show for us because I fought with Triton so many times. They're going down there doing their first show against these guys, but I'm familiar with the staff there. I'm familiar with the production. I've been in the cage before, so honestly, I think it's going to feel more like an away game for him, to be honest. But and I fought down there not too recently, so all things aside, even if that wasn't the case, I still think I'd beat him. I just think that I'm better and I'll be able to push the pace and just finish the fight because we have better coaches. And well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know the coaches down there at American Top Team. I know they do have a bunch in Florida. There's different franchises that they run. So,
yeah,
I don't want to disrespect anybody's coaches, but, I'm just very confident in my team. And I think that, our team can match up with anybody. We got Aljamain Sterling fighting next week for the world title at 135. I mean, he's in the gym coaching. he's just a great guy. Honestly, he's in a championship training camp, and he comes in and he starts wrestling and teaching classes for these guys. And I mean, you can't buy that kind of training. You can't go around, because people just, even if they're at that level, they don't want to share. And this guy's coming in and teaching our team, and it's high level stuff. I mean, Ray Longo is my head striking coach. He's got world champions on his resume. So there's just a pedigree that I think that we bring to the table that these guys don't have, and it shows up in the cage, to be honest.
Yeah. And now you fought, I believe, 4 out of your 6 amateur fights for Triton too, the lightweight champ too there. So what was kind of your reaction when you heard they were going to start doing pro fights?
Yeah, I was excited. I mean, there's a few other promotions that, that we were looking at. But when Triton reached out and said, we're trying to do a show in Florida, I was like, let's do it. I don't know when it is, but let's get an opponent. I have a great relationship with Triton. They put on some great fights. They put on some great shows. So as soon as they said, let's go, I said, okay, let's go. So they're putting together a New York versus Florida kind of theme show, which is pretty awesome in my opinion, honestly.
Yeah.
It gets the fans hyped. I got a bunch of people coming, like planning vacations basically around, coming down to watch my fight. So I got family and friends coming. So I think a lot of people are looking for a break anyway right now, and they want to get out of New York and maybe go get some sunshine and enjoy a trip and feel normal again. So if I can bring that to people's lives, then I'd be happy to do it, because we're definitely looking to get on the other side of all of these lockdowns that are hurting businesses and whatnot, and try to put on shows for people and entertain, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's definitely smart on Triton's part too, because even if you just think about the 2 areas too, like New York and like Florida, I mean, I feel like those are 2 pretty like prominent places when you think of like MMA, especially like you said too. Like, I mean, you got like Weidman and now like Aljamain like fighting for the title, so it's kind of easy to, I guess, put those 2 together.
Yeah, I mean, Florida's got great gyms down there. I know they have top American top team. They have like 3 or 4 gyms down there.
Yeah,
so
MMA Masters, yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of talent down there. There's definitely a lot of talent here. It's a little frustrating being in the cold sometimes. We got a lot of snow lately. So, but I haven't missed a day of training, and I look at it like being in the snow and being in New York and being on Long Island makes you a tough person. Honestly, it's tough going to training when it's raining and it's snowing, and you got to shovel your driveway just to get to the gym, and then you get there and you got to put in the work. I mean, that creates tough people. So I think it's a good environment. I've heard them say that about Albuquerque, the Jackson Wink camp. It's like you go out there in the desert and only tough things survive. So I like to think that that's how it is here on Long Island. We have a lot of tough people, and I'm honored to represent Long Island and New York and go down and put on a show and chase my dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I can definitely attest that. Somebody who, I lived in New Jersey for like 27 years. I just finally moved 3 months ago. And I'll tell you, like, as far as like, I'm a big runner, and like, it's a lot easier to get up in the morning and be like, all right, I'm just going to go for a run than it was as long as you plan it right. Cause in Florida, it can get like super hot. So you got to do like a little earlier. But other than that, I much rather run in that than like in the snow and things like that. So I can attest
I went down
for
a wedding, actually. I'm not sure if it was before or after my last fight. I think it was after my last fight. And, I went down with my fiance, and we just went to the wedding, and, we had a great time that night. It was great weather. And then we just like woke up and like was sitting on the balcony and like hanging out, drinking coffee. I was like, man, this is like October right now. So this is like crazy that we can just sit out here and do this. So, it is tempting to say, this is where I want to be. And this is an easier lifestyle, but sometimes easier is not the right way. Sometimes if you try to look for shortcuts, or you try to, if you try to make things easier on yourself, it ends up pulling the rug out from under yourself, because you don't notice the things that are making you tough. Sometimes it's the environment and the things around you and the people around you. So as far as that goes, I would love to vacation, but as I'm a Cerro Longo guy, so I'm here from Long Island. I'm going to represent.
Yeah, for sure. Now, do you train full time, or do you kind of balance like another job with fighting?
Yeah, I wish I could train full time. It's a work in progress, but I do have a full time job too. Even before COVID, I have 2 days that I work from home. So I go in the office 3 days. I'm in leasing for real estate, commercial, retail real estate across the country. So that keeps me. I try to turn that into a positive too. I mean, that keeps me sharp. I'm working with numbers all day. I'm working with agreements and this kind of professionalism that I take towards my training and towards my MMA career. So I feel I get more done in the office than I do at home anyway. So if I was sitting home, I'd probably go crazy, So it's tough at this level to make a living, obviously, doing the things that I would want to do just on a, fight check. So
Yeah.
I do need to supplement my income with work, but I have a great support system, with the company that I work at, and my family and things like that. And I support myself 100%. But I think it's important to try to balance those things too, because some guys get all their training in and don't have any real life experiences, and then they get a paycheck and they don't really understand what it's worth. And
Yeah.
I appreciate every single moment of training, every single moment of weight cutting, every single moment of the fight. I enjoy it because I know what it's like to not have it in my life, and it's just not something that I want to go through again. So I love it, and I love every bit of it because of the the work that I have to put in elsewhere.
Yeah. This is my first time talking to you. So like, how did you get into like MMA?
I got a lot of fights growing up. Long Island. There's a lot of street fights.
Mhm.
Towns and that kind of thing. So I was always kind of in that environment, and I seemed to thrive. I was never picking on anybody that didn't want to fight with me, but something about keeping my composure in those situations definitely affected me. I went to LSU for my undergrad. I got the flag right here.
Yeah. There
Represent
you
Go
go.
Tigers. So I went down to LSU for my undergrad and started doing some boxing and jujitsu because I was like, man, I I had to work up the courage even just to go walk into an LA boxing. Like I was so in awe of it that I was a little starstruck even just walking in and like putting gloves on. So mustered up the courage to go in there and wound up honestly falling in love with the first minute that I was hitting pads. And I started doing some jujitsu from there. I actually started at one of the gyms that Dustin Poirier was at
Okay.
down in Louisiana, down in Baton Rouge. It was an affiliate. But there wound up being some really great jujitsu instructors, some good boxing coaches. So I actually got some pretty high level work when I was there. And I started realizing that I'm kind of paying more attention to my training than I am to my schoolwork. And I kept my grades up, but when I graduated, I said, man, I can't even imagine going the rest of my life without stepping in the cage and fighting. And it was a long road to get to the cage the first time, but once I got there, I was ready for it because it means so much to me that I prepared the right way. And I had some initial success in my amateur career, and it took off from there. And I have the great coaches again, so they led me on the right path, and I'm looking to make some big moves this year in my pro career.
Yeah, for sure. And after a year like last year where it was so hard to find a fight, I know you said you were also having you had surgery too, and then you finally got a fight in when did you say September, right?
Yeah, I believe it was September. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I had like a minor surgery on my shoulder, like right when COVID hit. A bunch of cards started getting canceled and everything, so I was like, I might as well just get in here and get like this get this little operation taken care of. And then so I was rehabbing for a lot of the times that it was really locked down. So it actually worked out, as far as fights getting canceled and things like that. I didn't get affected too much, but I got my rehab in, got healthy, got back to training, and yeah, I got a fight in at the end of the year in September. So it was as far as my career didn't hurt too bad, but I know a lot of guys like Frivola in the gym. He had I think 3 UFC fights canceled
Yeah.
because one his corner tested positive, and then the opponent tested positive, so it was just a crazy situation. And I get that they do need to put those precautions in place, but it definitely hit different people different ways. So I feel pretty lucky that I got through it the way that I did, and I'm looking to pick up right where I left off. So it's right back in the trenches for me, and I train year round. I'm always sharp, so I'm ready at any opportunity. And I think this is gonna be a good fight.
Yeah. It's funny too because I remember talking to a few guys who were like they weren't sure if they were going to get the surgery right away or not, and then when the pandemic hit, they're like, you know what, this is the time to do it because and even UFC guys because they weren't sure when the UFC was actually going to get back or not. So I mean, yeah, I guess it's never a good time to have surgery, but if there was any, I think that would be it.
Yeah, I think MMA fighters are, we have to work through so much injuries and so much pain all the time that, we never stop, for the good, some of the guys that are the most prepared never stop working, like I'm working through an injury every single week, so
Mhm.
we kind of lose track of what what actually needs to be done for like a normal human body. So
Yeah, yeah,
they had to shut down. I got the surgery, and then it was good from there.
yeah. So you fought once last year. You're gonna fight in March. How many fights ideally would you like to have in this year?
I'd like to get 2 more this year at least. I have my wedding obviously at the end of the
Yeah,
year, so that's in December. So my goal for this year is 5-0. That would be ideal. But I'd be happy with maybe 2 or 3 more, and start looking at some UFC Contender Series opportunities, and maybe filling in last minute on some other shows with some bigger names. But
yeah,
um, yeah, I feel ready to go.
yeah, yeah. You don't want any black eyes for the wedding day.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to book that one in quite in advance. I got to make sure nothing's going on. I got to even stop sparring and training, so that's gonna be an adventure in itself. But yeah, can't show up for the photo shoot with black eyes.
Yeah. Before I let you go, Dylan, anything that you want to add? The floor is yours.
Um, just to promote the show, I mean, Triton Fights putting on a great show. It's New York versus Florida theme, so anybody who's looking for some competition and some live sports, in my opinion, there's nothing like there's nothing like MMA
Mhm.
in entertainment. I used to watch other sports. I don't watch any sports anymore. All I watch is MMA because honestly, when you watch an MMA fight, you know that person in there is trying their hardest. When you're watching NFL, you're watching these others, basketball, whatever. It's like, yeah, are they working hard? Yeah, maybe, but are they fighting for their life in there because that's what they want to be doing with their life? No, they're not. But so I think it's the most exciting sport, that you can even participate in or watch. So I'm hoping, a lot of people can make it to the show and tune in. They have a pay-per-view stream. So, we're excited about putting on a show and having this Sarah Longo takeover continue.
Yeah. You don't even watch any LSU football?
I do watch LSU football. You
Okay.
got me there. That's true. But that's the alma mater. They're not even in there getting paid. I mean, so yeah, I gotta give those guys props too. But yeah, no, LSU football. That's a good call. I gotta make it down to a game because I actually went down the year they won the championship 2 years ago, and since
Oh,
then
wow.
they haven't been able to have any people in the stands. So it's been a crazy year, but we got a championship in right before the deadline at the buzzer for all the COVID shutdowns. So I was happy about that. But yeah, so I can't wait to go down there and get another game in. But um,
Yeah.
like even still, there's nothing like an MMA fight. I went to an amateur fight when I was an undergrad in Louisiana, and I said, holy shit, this is as exciting as going to an LSU football game. So that's the kind of fighter that I am. I'm looking to put on a show because I'm looking to take people out in the cage and put on exciting fights. So if you're interested, come check it out. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah. One last thing to add to that too is just I know the amateur fights in Louisiana too are even crazier too because they don't have like the shin pads or things like that. It's pretty much just like a regular like MMA fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the amateurs has evolved over the time, but I mean, I did 2 fights with shin pads, and then the rest were basically a pro fight because you had the 6-ounce gloves and no shin pads or anything.
Okay.
So they changed some elbows and knee rules, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy that the pros that are coming in now, like myself, 2-0, have the experience that we do because the levels get higher and higher even through the amateur because those pro wins are so valuable that you need to be ready to go. And like Ray Longo says, like you need to have everything squared away when you get in there. When you turn pro, it's go time because there's no learning on the job. I'm always going to grow as a fighter, but you need to be able to defend yourself in every situation. Otherwise, people will take advantage of you and you will get seriously hurt. So
Yeah.
I train year round and I train hard, and I will never be unprepared. So I'm looking to put on a show.
Yeah, because I even know a guy, Francis Marshall too. He trains under Kurt now, Kurt Pellegrino. But they like went down to Louisiana purposely to get him kind of used to that and like not having the shin pads and stuff like that. So I think he did 2 trips down to Louisiana.
Yeah, I actually watched Dustin Poirier has a documentary. I don't know if you
Oh
see
yeah,
Fightville.
Fightville. Oh yeah, Fighteville's
Yeah,
great.
I watched that my freshman, sophomore year in college. I was like, and that was, going on in I think it was Shreveport, which was nearby to where I was. And I was like, wow, this is real. This is
Yeah,
the real deal. I was on my own in Louisiana. I left everybody behind that I knew in New York, and I moved down there, and I was trying to find myself, and I found MMA, and I found, competition in MMA, and it really changed my life. So, Louisiana is a great place for MMA too. They have a lot of good coaches, and it's kind of a smaller niche there as well as it is in Long Island. But I think it's proof that if you have the right people around you, you could get the information that you need to put a good team together and create some high level athletes. And I think Sarah Long is a good representative of that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Dylan, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and I wish you nothing but the best on March 27th.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. I want to see you down there for sure. I know you're working on press credentials.
Yeah,
gotta get Connor down there for this fight. So thank you very much. I appreciate the interview.